Spirit show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. As I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace, and show, Spirit show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love.
Good evening, and welcome to our Midweek Faith Lift. Today is Wednesday, October 12th.
It is?
It is Wednesday, October 12th.
That's right. I think Columbus Day was originally October 12th.
Really?
I thought so.
Wow.
I know they celebrated it on Monday, but
Yeah, Monday.
I thought it was originally October 12th. Anyways,
Yeah, today is Wednesday, October 12th,
yeah.
2022. And my name is Shannon Brun. I'm here with Rev Doug Werth from Union Chattanooga. Welcome back, Rev Doug.
Thank you.
We have not been together in a long time as far as the Midweek Faith Lift.
That's right. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah. What have you been doing in those few weeks?
Oh, many things.
Yeah.
A lot of honeydew projects. Actually, fixing up our house, and we've had the new roof put on it, painters, just all kinds of different projects. I mean, the house was built in '82. We moved in 2004, so it's been about 18 years for us.
Wow, you guys have been there a while.
And so, there's stuff that needs to be done. That's what I've been pretty busy with.
Just like our lives, houses are transformed as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you've been talking about transformation.
A lot.
A lot. And I think that has spilled over into our house projects, because I've been transforming some things around here myself. Yeah. So we've both been doing a lot of stuff around the house. Yeah,
and it's interesting because oftentimes when you transform the physical, then there's a feeling inside that kind of opens up. I mean, we had the house painted a different color.
Yeah. I mean, that color is amazing.
I mean, like it.
It brings like a whole new, it's a
whole
modern.
new energy.
Yeah. And I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen it through pictures. I haven't seen it live, so I'm sure it looks even better.
It's nice. And what's interesting, and for you viewers, my wife and I live up on Signal Mountain, and there's a lot of trees up there. It's about an acre, but it's in a subdivision. There's a lot of trees in front and back. And the house was originally a relatively bright yellow.
Yeah, and green.
With green shutters and things. And what we did is we painted it a light gray with black shutters and white trim, red door, and it really pops.
It pops, man.
And the other thing too, when you get all the trees around it, and of course there's a brick front and things to it, it really looks nice. And all the trees are turning up there now, so it's
bringing that color.
Very colorful.
Yeah. So you were saying that, like, a lot of times when you make personal transformation in your life, as far as on the spiritual level, things on the outside begin to change as well.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I mean, that's exactly what we teach in Unity. And what I have found is as we change our thinking and as we change the way we feel about things, everything
changes. Yeah.
You know, and by everything, not only the environment, but the people that you associate with. All of a sudden, new things will pop up for your attention. It's it's just a whole different energy. So
yeah, and finances begin to. I know for me, the finances have changed a lot.
Sure.
I mean, I'm spending more, but it doesn't feel like I'm losing anything.
Right.
You know, so I think that's a great thing. It doesn't feel like it. I'm sure the bank account is.
It must be that you're not in the stock market.
I'm spending a lot, but I don't feel like I'm spending a lot. I think that's a good feeling. You know, a lot of times if you're spending and you feel like you're spending, it can kind of tighten you up and make you feel a little uncomfortable. Oh my God, I'm losing all my savings.
That's right.
But I'm in the process of spending a lot, and I just feel good about it. I don't feel worried about it at all. Yeah. And that's faith. That's faith.
It's not only faith, but what it's doing is it's opening up that whole give and receive part of it. And what I have found. Before I went into ministry, I was pretty nervous about, how's the finances going to work, because I had a good job, but we had a mortgage and car payments, daughter in college and all that. And what I found is that when I gave myself to the spiritual path, everything else moved too. And we never had a problem.
Everything will take care of itself.
It does.
Everything falls in place.
Right.
Divine order.
Yeah. Now, one other thing about that, there's a lady in Unity. I hope she's still around. Her name is Catherine Ponder, and she's a Unity minister. She lives out in Palm Springs or Palmdale or Palm something, which is outside of Los Angeles. And she has written a lot of books about prosperity. Prosperity was her thing. And she went, early in her life, she went to her accountant, who was a tax guy and everything. And he would do her IRS returns, tax reports every year. And he wasn't a tither at all, but he noticed that she was. And so he asked her about that, and she told him a little bit about it, giving 10% of your first fruits to where you see God's work being done. It's a way of giving and receiving and opening that up. And he looked at her kind of dumbfounded, and then he sat back a little bit, and then he looked at her and he said, I've got a number of clients who are tithers, and what I can tell you that I have noticed, in good times and in bad times, when all the other clients are suffering and they're not only steady, but they increase every year.
Wow.
Every year, And what I found, again, once you open yourself to God's guidance and you start following that path, doing what you're guided to do. In other words, there's your part of it. Your whole life changes, and finances is just one of them. And finances really is nothing more than divine energy showing up in the material. That's all. That's all it is.
Divine energy
showing up in the material.
Wow, that's finances.
Yeah, that's what financial abundance is. And your part of it, is to make sure that channel stays open. And the way that you do that, one of the ways, is through tithing. It's giving and receiving. It's the law of compensation. And as you give and as you open up, all good things start coming through, including your finances. And Penny and I have discovered that, I guess 20, 25 years ago, and it's just as true today as it has ever been.
What about for those people who can't tithe and they can give of themselves, right? Is that equal to tithing, or they can give things?
I can tell you,
most people can tithe. That's what you're going to say. You're a minister. You're going to say everybody can tithe.
I can give you three. I can give you three stories, but one of them that comes up is a lady by the name of Mary Mannon Morrissey. And Mary
I should
Mannon.
never ask the minister that question. What about people who can't tithe? Everybody can tithe. You got something to give. No.
Well, yeah, here's what it was. I mean, she and her husband had dedicated themselves to spirit. She'd heard the call. They were doing these things. They're running around in a camper, speaking here and speaking there. And they they never had, they were always scraping by.
Mm-hmm.
And she had heard about tithing, but she basically said, well, we don't make enough to tithe,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that little voice said, okay. So they show up at this campground, and this thing about tithing was showing up. And basically she said, all right, I get it. And she had like $10 left to her name, and here was a place that was doing good work in the community, and she said, okay, out of my last $10, I'll give you $1. You know, immediately, what happened is the campground said, well, we don't have the space that we promised you. We've got a better one over here. But I'll tell you what, we'll give you that at a discount.
Wow.
So they discounted it. And her husband came home that evening and said, you wouldn't believe what happened. And all of a sudden he got some more work and some other things. And quite frankly, Mary's eyes got about that big around. And she never stopped, and she never stopped tithing after that, no matter what she had. Edwene Gaines is another story. She was down and out, you know, and Edwene is kind of a very colorful character.
Yeah.
And she knew about tithing, but she said, you know, I can't do it. Okay, I can't even pay the bills. And Spirit basically said to her, you always have enough, you know, so start tithing. And she started tithing, and boom.
Let's talk about that a little bit. And you know, we didn't plan to talk about this.
No, we didn't.
We just
I don't know what we planned.
We didn't plan to talk about it. We just got on and started talking. That's what we do.
Right.
But this is what Spirit is leading us to talk about.
This is what's coming up.
Right. You said abundance is what again? Can you say that slowly?
I don't know. I just kind of.
Wow. It's showing up in the material. You said.
Something like that.
Finance. Man, I thought
material abundance is just God's energy showing up in a material way.
So
That's all it is.
So when we, it's important for us to be able to see prosperity, to be able to see, and it's not always financial, right?
That's
true.
true.
It's not always financial. Can you talk about some of the things that ways it shows up? Like, you know, like there are ways that it can show up through, abundance can show up through a variety of different ways.
Right.
Not just money. So if I'm tithing, I may not receive extra money in my account, but I might, you know, see that my relationships improve, or maybe
or your health.
My health, right. So that's what I wanted you to talk about. Like,
relationships, health. The other thing that I have noticed in my life is that, again, you always have your part to play. What God and Spirit's job is, they open the door and they bring opportunities. All right, so once that door is open, then you have to be prepared to walk through it. So oftentimes material abundance will show up as an opportunity, which you have to take part in, and you have to walk through.
So you have to be able to see that.
Yeah, and then those blessings come.
Right.
It's not just all of a sudden it'll come out of the sky.
Right. You have to be able to see it.
It'll show up as usually opportunities. You know.
So you have to be spiritually aware. You have to be aware of what's going on in your surroundings to know that it's showing up and to take advantage of it.
I'll give you an example.
That happens to me. I mean, that happens to me all the time.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, you know, I'll see something. I'm like, okay, this is a part of what I've been thinking about. So let me get into this.
I'll tell you a funny one. I've been thinking. For those of you who don't know, I have a car that I drive around. It's a 2000 Acura RL, and it's in good shape, but it's also 23 years old. All right, and it's got some issues. Driveline is perfect. This is not an Acura commercial, but I've often thought that the time is coming when I would like another sedan, okay, that I drive around town with. And I was thinking of a Mercedes 350E or an E350, and I wanted it with a beige interior, and I would like a light color on the outside. And I've been thinking about that, you know, quite a bit. Well, lo and behold, last week I went to a birthday party for a friend of mine, and they had, everybody was there. I mean, there had to have been 150 people there that they invited, you know, 75th anniversary. And I'm sitting talking with it, and here's this lady who says, now, by the way, an E350 Mercedes with reasonable miles on it. And I was thinking of a 2016 or 2014, somewhere in there, because the engine changed after that. So I wanted a certain type of engine. So I was pretty specific about what I wanted. And those cars, if you can find them, are somewhere around $25,000, $28,000. Okay, that's fine. But I've been thinking about this. Well, I'm sitting talking at the table, and this lady is selling hers with 60,000 miles.
Okay, were you talking about the car at the table?
No,
You were just talking.
we're just talking.
Wow.
We're just talking, and she said, "Well, I have to leave early because I'm going to sell my car." So oh really? What kind of car are you selling? A 2014 E350 with beige interior.
Wow.
And she said, "Yeah,
You're making this up just for this.
No.
I know you're not making it up for
This
the podcast.
happened.
I know.
This happened."
Right.
So anyways, we all knew the retail price.
Right.
We could see it on our cell phones, 25, 26, 24, depending on the mileage. And she said what the car dealer was going to offer her for it, which was like 18. She said, "Well, I'll give it to you for 18 if you want it." Poof. Those are opportunities.
Okay, did you get it?
No, I didn't.
You didn't get it?
No.
Is there a reason why?
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk about that or no?
Well,
Penny was like, "Hell no, we're not getting that car."
no. Penny didn't say anything about it, which surprised me.
Right.
Okay. But several things have been going on. Like I say, Spirit will present you with the opportunity.
Right.
All right. It will bring you in contact with people and places that you have you are aligned with, and if your material consciousness is right, and we're tithers, okay, we give regularly, most of the time at this point back to the church, but all those things will create opportunities for you in the direction that you want to go. And so this was just an example of that. So the door was there, the door was open, and I decided not to walk through it because of some of the things we're doing with our house, which we talked about earlier. New roof, new paint job, and there have been a number of other things that we have
So what
done.
you're saying is those opportunities will come, and when they come, you have to make a decision on whether you want to walk through that or not. And
That's
if
correct.
you don't walk through that, it's okay.
It's okay.
I didn't know it was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was okay. I thought that when it comes, you need to take advantage of it because it's not going to come again. That's what I.
No.
And maybe that's my limited thinking, or maybe that's my fear that of lack of. What do you call that when you have you're afraid of always not having? So when an opportunity comes, you're like, "Oh, I better take advantage of this because it's not going to come again. Or I'm not going to have this, so let me use it." But you're saying
That's being tight on the inside.
Yeah.
You don't want that. No, you can just simply say, Spirit, God, hey, thank you very much. I know I've been thinking about this. I know that you're always
providing and there for me. Yeah.
and I appreciate that. And not at this time. Okay. So,
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
so I chose not to take advantage of it. And what I'm finding is it's just one. I mean, I know this. I teach this. Okay, but yet in my own life,
But it's sometimes it's a miracle, almost like wow. And many times as it happens, it still becomes like amazing to us when it happens.
exactly. And the thing that one more time I got a little hint of is, Doug, be very clear about what you're thinking about. Okay, notice what you're noticing, and pay attention to what you think about, because those things send out vibrational attractors, and so just be careful about.
So why
that.
are you saying that? Like you say maybe you shouldn't have been thinking about it so quickly?
No,
because you had other things going on.
No, what I'm saying, and here's another thing. I often like to look at cars and motorcycles and trucks and things like that. It's just something that's interesting to me. And as I focus on that, boom, they show up.
Right, they show up, and so it's like you got to be careful.
You got to be. Yeah, because all
you took me to the dealership to look at some cars for myself.
Right, I did.
And you helped me to make a decision on what I want to get.
Right.
But you were very attracted to some things yourself while you were
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Yeah. So be careful of what we're paying attention to.
Right.
Because definitely it's going to show up. And
pay attention to what you're paying attention to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. I mean, if you like looking at these things and then they start showing up, you can jump into that and it can be a trap too. Mm-hmm. So you got to be careful about what you're thinking about. Mm-hmm. And so for me these days, I want to make sure that I'm thinking about what I want to see prosper, just not my own stuff. Mm-hmm. All right. And what I want to see prosper is a church. Mm-hmm. I want to see people, just enthusiastically embracing, what we talk about. I want to see them using those things in their lives. And one of the things that we talk about in Unity of Chattanooga, or Unity in general, is the law of mind action. And this is just an example of how all that works.
And one of the things that you talk about how you want to see that, I think that collectively as a board, we all want to see that. And I think that's starting to show itself at our services, because we've had a lot of people.
Well, last week we had over 40 people.
Yeah, and not only that,
and I don't know how many online.
Yeah, and then we've had a lot of visitors.
Yeah,
and that's amazing to me, because and that's coming from what you said, what we're thinking about,
that's right.
We're also putting our energy in, putting the word out in the community.
And the key thing, in terms of growing a church, the key thing there, it's not. We all focus on numbers, all right? It's not so much about numbers. It's about consciousness. And so the idea is for people who are there, are you being fulfilled? Are you feeling and knowing that your life is improving? Are you taking these principles and putting them into your life? Because once you get a solid group of people who are committed to the spiritual journey, they're getting something out of it, then what's going to happen?
It radiates.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When I went to
more and more.
Yeah. When I went to the Pride Parade, I knew I was radiating.
Yeah.
I knew I was glowing.
Yeah.
I had those 12 powers in my hand, and I was asking people, "Do you know the 12 powers you have that dwells inside of you?" And it's just coming out naturally. Yeah. They were like, "Really? I do?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So pick a card and let me tell you about that power. One of those powers.
That's
great.
great.
Card and I tell them about the power, and I said, "You know what? You can get a rock and take that home with you, and then you can also get an affirmation. It's all free, and you can affirm that power that you picked out, and if you're interested, you can come by and take a look at what we have going on at Unity of Chattanooga."
And last week there was a number of people.
There were a number of people that came by.
Yeah.
There were a number of people, and every week we have visitors.
Yes.
Every week.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
And that's because of us radiating.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and you're giving good lessons.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The other thing about that, we've always got to make sure that who's ever there is being blessed by what we have. And sometimes they come and then they go.
Right.
Okay. They've been there for a while, then they go someplace else. And if you're not careful with that, if you're kind of in a material mindset, then you're going to say, "Oh well, we lost somebody, or what did we do wrong?"
Right.
No. Okay. What we want to do is we want to bless the people who are there, and then bless them on their journey, and just simply know that Spirit is bringing, God, whatever you want to call it, is bringing to us the people who can benefit in that particular moment. And then as they go out and go into their lives, they take those teachings and it starts to spread. And so that's the idea. That's the idea. It's not so much, a lot of the mainline churches focus on
numbers and holding on to people.
Yeah. That's not the way I look at it.
Right.
So anyway.
And I look at it the way the mainline churches look at it, but I have to reprogram myself to not think about it that way. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah. How do you bless those who are there at the time?
And we did a wonderful job of that last Sunday.
Last Sunday was beautiful.
Yeah, we had a great celebration service.
Yeah.
And that was.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, people really. I felt it. I walked in, as soon as I got there, I started tearing up. I'm like, why the hell am I crying? I'm like, no music playing, was just setting up stuff, and I was just emotional. I'm not sure what that was about, but a number of people told me that they were like that also.
You can feel spirit coming in, okay, and you can feel that energy, you can feel that blessing, you can feel that love, and when that happens, kind of all the other stuff just goes away, you know, and that's spirit coming in. And last week's service, for those of you perhaps who didn't see it, I didn't say very much. I just kind of opened it up.
You always think you don't say much, but you say a lot. And I don't mean powerful stuff though. Powerful little nuggets.
Yeah, in terms of length of time, it was only 6 or 7 minutes. But the idea was we brought in some new members and then told their story. Yeah. And then once that was done, and it was very moving to them, you know. Yeah. We invited some other people up from the congregation who had a story and tell your story. And of course, Faye-Ann was retiring, so we gave an opportunity for her. And you know, that's always touching.
Yeah, it is touching.
Yeah. I thought it was a fabulous service.
I thought it was too, and not to mention afterwards we had a great meal.
Oh,
you know, I always talk about the meal. You know, the meal was good. Yeah. You know, all of it. You know, everything that we do.
You got to feed people spiritually, emotionally, and physically.
That's true. Yeah, so it's all connected.
Yeah.
Before we end, Doug, I want to tell people about our. Of course, we have this podcast every Wednesday at 4:00 on our Facebook page, and we also have it on our Friends of Unity of Chattanooga group. And so, if you're interested in joining our group, it's Friends of Unity of Chattanooga. And I'm going to actually put something up eventually so that you guys could see the logo for the Friends of Unity group and be able to join that. And also, we have our Spiritual Connection group that we do every Thursday. You want to tell them a little bit about that, what that is, and what we do?
Yeah, it's kind of an open forum. We meet at Whole Foods on Manufacturers Road. Upstairs, they have a large area up there for with tables and chairs and things. And typically, what happens at 6 o'clock on Thursday evenings, whoever wants to show up, just show up, and it's almost kind of like this. Whatever we want to talk about comes up. Sometimes we have maybe 1 or 2 people. Sometimes there's 10. Yeah. Last week we had a whole bunch of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. It's wonderful, man.
Yeah. We had a whole bunch of people.
Wow.
And then
I'm so proud of Unity of Chattanooga. I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a great place.
It is a great place. We're just loving each other.
Yeah.
You know. But go ahead. You said it was a bunch.
So a bunch of people showed up, and we just talked about whatever came up. And it's a nice, you know, on Sundays. We have a kind of a 3-hour rental, from 10 to 1. So we have to get out. So along about the service ends about 12 or maybe 10 after, somewhere in there, but usually right around there. And then there's food and fellowship and things. But it takes myself and 2 or 3 other people quite a bit of time to take all that stuff down and then, you know, put it in the cars so that we can leave and clean up the place. So I really don't have an awful lot of time to talk with people after the service, which I would really like to do. Well, on Thursday nights, that's the opportunity right there. I'm usually there. Penny's there. A number of other people. Sometimes you're there. Sometimes, you know, board people are there. And then, you know, if you have a question or we get a time to, you know, know each other, you know, talk about stuff, it's great. It's fun.
Yeah. That's
Thursday night, 6 o'clock, Whole Foods, in case you're interested.
On Manufacturers Road.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday morning at 10:30, we have a dancing meditation kind of.
Yeah, Laura Noyes leads that, and it's kind of an icebreaker.
Yeah.
You know, it's I didn't know how it was going to go at first, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know,
it definitely opens us up.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
And if you're coming for the very first time and you walk into that and you see a bunch of people kind of doing Tai Chi or something,
whatever
with some music, it might look a little strange, but you don't have to participate if you don't want.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, Doug, I want to thank you for coming out and joining me.
Yeah.
It goes by so fast.
It does.
It goes by so fast. I don't want it to end, but we have to end.
Yeah.
But
we don't want to bore people with
yeah.
it.
If you are, I don't think I have any more announcements. I'll just say goodbye to everybody. And
Yeah.
we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, or Thursday night or Sunday, this coming Sunday.
That's right, Thursday night.
And Sunday at Red Bank Community Center on Tom Weathers Drive in Red Bank, 11 o'clock.
See you guys later.
Okay, take care.